Hello, everyone. Nice to be back again to share with you guys what I'm going to talk this week. Okay, this week is basically about the two central banks' decision that's going to come on in about 2 days and 3 days time. The Tuesday one is on RBA, and Wednesday one is the RBNZ. Okay, but of course, before I start that, I always, for some who are, there's about one of you or two of you not familiar with me, I started my career as a dealer. So I always put this when I start: once a dealer, always a dealer. You cannot run away. Your roots are there, so-called. So I started my career in 1983 at Bank of America as a trainee dealer. Then went on to Citibank as senior dealer, eventually assuming roles as treasury manager and SVP in HSBC Private Banking Division. I left banking to be a currency analyst with Informa Global Markets before semi-retiring in 2017. Right now, I am adjunct lecturer with a few institutions, and as well as being trainer for the Skill Futures Fundamentals of FX, trading, hedging, and risk management course. During my so-called career, I was a lecturer trainer at Institute of Banking and Finance for many central banks, including MAS, Central Bank of Macau, Bank Negara Malaysia. And of course, I also was with SMU as an adjunct lecturer in the private banking diploma program for wealth management practitioners. All right, so as trading and training is my passion, I continue to trade for clients and for friends, which of course is what I like to do, right? Especially the training and the trading, but actually both are equal, you know. So therefore I continue to do that part. Okay, quickly I'll run into this part of the presentation. Okay, what I put there is the RBA and the RBNZ is the focus in the first half of the week. That means Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you have RBA, RBNZ. And later part of the week, we will have the US non-farm payroll, which is also a very important number this week, because this one will roughly tell you where the Federal Reserve is going to be in terms of tapering. So it's quite important number. But before we get to that number, we'll go into the RBA first. Now the RBA, of course, on Tuesday, they are expected to stand pat, to stay pat. That means to leave everything unchanged when they decide on the decision. Right? When they met last month, what happened was everybody did not expect them to taper, but they did that. They decided to taper from Australian $5 billion to $4 billion a week. That means about 16 billion a month. But because of COVID, the recent lockdowns in Victoria, New South Wales, they are likely to keep the bond purchases until February next year. Right? That means another 4 months. So of course, when they did that, although they tapered, but because of the lockdown, the market sold Aussie dollars, also due to the strength of the US dollars, and because of risk aversion. Risk aversion means during the month of September, Dow Jones had a very rough month. I wouldn't say very rough, like Dow Jones dropped about 1,500 points, which is small, all right? The big one is coming, all right? Don't ask me when, but I believe it's within the year, right? The big one meaning not 1,500, okay? It's like 10,000 or 15,000 of fall you're going to see. But it's not going to be so soon. It will come. What's going to happen is, I think this month will not be so good for stocks. That means people will say, hey, but it's not so good for stocks. Then it's not so good for risk sentiment. Then it's not so good for Aussie. True, and also not true. True in the sense that when the stock market gets hit, people get scared, they run away, right? But if you get sustained hit, eventually the dollar will weaken, right? Eventually, and also because of the sell-off between July, August, and September, it was so fierce in Aussie, all right? It sent that pair to a fresh year low, all right? And it's recovering from that over the last few days, ending last week around 72.65 level. I think I may be wrong, but I think next 1 to 2 days until the number, that means tomorrow and again into Tuesday, you will see some recovery in the Aussie, back to above 73 probably, and then the decision comes out. I believe the RBA is not going to sound super dovish, right? They already so-called given the market some hint that almost 80%, 70 plus of the population is now vaccinated. There is potential for the Aussie to recover this quarter, especially against the buck. The buck means the US dollars, unless, of course, risk aversion continues to soar, to move higher, which at the moment looks quite steady because Wall Street finished the session on Friday quite steady, so not so scary, all right? And then you're going to have their Freedom Day, so-called. Okay, once freedom commences, there's a good chance to see a strong bounce in consumption and therefore growth, in which it will give the Aussie a huge lift, right? So I see recovery in Aussie, all right? Aussie is now 72.65. There is a very good chance it will go to 75 over the end of the year, all right? And then next year, I think will be a different story, okay? Aussie will recover much faster. And I believe, all right, China is not going to let Evergrande just collapse like that. Yes, they will let Evergrande go down, but not to have that contagion, not to have that ripple. I think China cannot afford that, and China will not allow that to happen, in the sense that they collapse totally. They will allow them to suffer, but not like to totally, be off, because it will also affect them. So that one, I think that part of the risk aversion will slowly dissipate, will slowly disappear, which will give Aussie and of course New Zealand support there. So I'm long Aussie. I think I told the group, those who are in my chat group, average about 72.40. All right, so it's about 72.65. So I'm up about 25 points. And if it does come down, I'll just collect it. All right. My strategy is a bit different from others. There are intraday dealers. There are also strategic. All right, strategic or structural dealers like myself. All right, I take a longer term because of my age. I cannot trade in and out. Like David. David is in the group. David goes in and out. He's much younger, so his heart is probably stronger than mine. So he's able to take that the volatility. Okay, so that's Aussie. I will finish New Zealand and then ask questions. The RBNZ, on the other hand, I think they will hike rates by 25 basis points, which is 0.25%, after failing to do so in August. They were supposed to hike in August, but due to the COVID outbreak in Auckland in August, they withheld. All right, they didn't hike. But then, over the last 7 weeks, the numbers in New Zealand have shown very, very strong data. So therefore, I think it is a more or less almost certain that they will hike by 25 basis points in August. And also the higher, just like in Australia, the higher vaccination rates in the country has given hope to a reopening of the economy, which has suffered for the last 6 weeks, right? So they are back on track. And more importantly, the stronger than expected Q2 GDP has given the central bank scope to hike rates, right? Although at the present moment, a hike of 50 basis points is not likely on Wednesday, all right? But you never know, all right, with the central bank. Sometimes they give you a shocker, all right? So be prepared. 25 points is there, 50 points, we don't know yet. But of course, if they do not hike 50 points, which is 0.5% on Wednesday, and if the economy continues to gain strength over the next 2 months into the year end, the central bank may well hike rates by 50 basis points when they meet again in December. All right. So of course, stay with me on this channel. Over the next few weeks, I will talk again about RBNZ as they get closer and closer to December, what they will do. All right. So like the Aussie, the oversold structure of New Zealand dollars suggests that there is scope for a nasty rally to the upside should the RBNZ hike rates with a hawkish stance. Right? Hawkish means they want to hike rates again. So if the RBNZ hike rates 25 basis points and they give an indication that they will hike rates more into the new year, December into the new year, there will be a very nasty rally, okay, in the New Zealand dollars, all right, to the upside. So be very, very careful of that. Okay, now, so of course, when I talk about Aussie, I talk about Kiwi, currencies in focus will be Aussie and Kiwi. Okay, now, both the Aussie and the Kiwi lost more than 3% against its US counterpart. And if both central banks are less dovish on Tuesday and Wednesday, we may well see the long-awaited recovery in both pairs. So this is my own view, okay? But you all can have your own view. I would say that we can try to buy Aussie on dips, all right? Now it closed about 72.65, 70, 72, 40, 50. If you can buy for a day trade, you know, tomorrow and Tuesday, stop loss about 20, 30 points, all right? Take profit about 60 points. I think you should be okay, all right? Now, those who follow on Friday, my so-called trading views, I put a stop at, a buy at 72.10 on Aussie. 72.10, stop loss 71.80. The low hit was 72.07, I think, okay? So you would have got at 72.10 and it went up to a high of 72.70 something. So you would have taken profit there. Kiwi, I put a buy at 68.90 or 68.80. All right, stop loss 68.50. It went to a low of 70 something and then went to a high of about near 50. So again, if you would have bought at 80, you would have made about 60 points. Okay, so 30 points against 60 points is not a bad ratio, all right, 1 to 2 ratio. So that's what I normally do. I will always put a 1 to 2 stop loss, take profit stop loss. Okay, but I believe that we can sell Aussie against New Zealand near the 104.80, 104.90 level, as the RBNZ is expected to be more hawkish than the RBA. Even if Aussie New Zealand goes to 105.10.20, it's no fear because that is a corrective phase. It went to a low of 103. Now it correct back about almost 200 points. So it's a very good level to sell. And I do not think Aussie Kiwi is going to go above 105.50. All right, I don't think so. That is my main view, because RBA is not going to hike rates yet for a while, whereas RBNZ is going to hike a few more times. So this cross is going to go to about 102, 101 before it recovers very strongly, because by then RBNZ would have hiked a few times, and then people are looking for the RBA to start hiking. That's where the market will turn. Okay. All right. Today quite fast, quite short and sharp. I am done in terms of presentation for this part. Before I go into the next part, any question? Or I go one more side, okay? Then I'll ask you. Okay. There's 2 or 3 of you there who are quite familiar, but there's 1 or 2 who may not be familiar. Okay, those who are currently trading FX and you feel that your performance is not up to where you want it to be, or you don't have enough time to monitor the market, you can join the SCCI Market Tips group, where you will get daily trading views, like the one that I gave out on Friday. All right, there's daily exit, daily stop loss. In addition to getting the views, you will also be in a chat group of active FX investors to learn from them. All right. The fee is very affordable at 130 per annum, not per month. 36 cents a day, not enough to drink even a cup of plain water. Okay. McDonald's plain water, I think it's not McDonald's. Some shops plain water is 30 cents. All right. So your plain water is 30 cents. So that's what you pay. So if you're keen, please contact me at 9452-1922. And I'll tell you what to do, how to go on that group. Now, before I end, okay, now after trading for 3 decades, I believe that the key to longevity is to have a good risk management in place. Okay, you can make good profits, but the key to staying in the game is to keep those profits instead of giving them back to the market. All right. So it's very, very important that we keep the profits. When you make, you keep it rather than trying to give it back. Try not to give it back if you can avoid it. All right. Okay. Now, okay, I'm going to type something. Okay. I'm done for this part of the presentation. Anyone have any questions? You can type on the chat, or you can unmute and talk. Anyone? Okay, I'm directing this one to Yi Lun, because the rest are I know them. They have heard my presentation on the skill futures course. Yi Lun, have you watched my presentation on skill futures? Or is this your first time hearing my presentation? Okay, I know the rest have. David, of course, Luke have. Dr. Cham, I think maybe Dr. Cham, is it? Are you Dr. Cham or different Cham? Okay. Of course, the rest, except Yi Lun, all right? So the rest, they have heard me many times. So of course, if there is no question, I can actually end here, because the rest have heard me present the other part of the presentation. Any question? Yi Lun, you were quite chatty earlier part. If you're still there, would like to hear from you.
Victor? Hello? Victor, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Earlier on, I have attended SCCI Joe's session. I remember you also have introduced your career and your service at
Right.
SCCI. But I'm mostly on Malaysian stocks, so I'm not so familiar with forex and all this yet.
Oh, I see. Oh, so you are actually you are based in Malaysia.
I'm Malaysian, yes. I'm in Malaysia, Pat, Johor.
So you are mostly in Malaysian stocks. Unfortunately, I don't do Malaysian stocks anymore.
Never mind, it's okay. Just to get to know you is good.
Right,
to
right.
Get to know you and Joe, who are active
Right.
in this area.
So
Okay.
maybe one day what I will do, I'm going to try to see whether I can do a Zoom session on the FX course.
Yeah.
All right. If I do have a Zoom session, will you be interested?
Yes, because I attended SCCI event for a few times. So if I will watch out for that. Watch out for the event hosted by SCCI.
Okay, good. We'll do that.
Okay.
Right. So thanks a lot, Yilun. So we'll speak to you again for sure. So what I'm going to say, the SkillsFuture will not apply to you because that is only for Singaporeans.
Yeah, exactly. That's I understand that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so I will stop here, and then we will talk again on other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Maybe the Wednesday session I will talk on gold if you're keen on gold. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks a lot.
Victor.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Have a nice day.
You too. Okay, guys. If there's no more questions, of course, you all heard Yilun is from Malaysia, so the SkillsFutures are not applied to him. David, Luke, I think Dr. Cham also from Malaysia, doesn't apply to them. So I'll stop here. And then I will speak to you guys on Wednesday after the New Zealand decision. And Wednesday, we will talk about the next thing, which is the US non-farm payroll. So once again, thanks for listening. And then we will talk again to you guys on Wednesday. Okay, take care, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Night.